The 579th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 100 times your entry with Underdog Fantasy's Pick'em. Sign up today with promo code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN.
Heidi ho, DeGenerinos. Welcome to episode 579 of the MMA Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. I'm going to dedicate this one to one of our fellow broadcast partners here at SGPN, Scott Reichel, who, for the big UFC events, he always pops into our channel on the Discord. Last night he popped in and let us know he hit a 9-1 parlay. So he's one of these guys that we have working for us that knows every sport somehow. Like, he does the tennis podcast, he's on the NBA podcast. I see him in hockey.
He does the MLB one too. He does the
MLB, right? Yep. Hockey, MMA. He knows, anyhow, Scott Reichel, good kid, knows his stuff, and it's always fun when he pops into the Discord to chat with us. It wasn't really a fun night though. To be a fight fan, there's some nights where it's kind of gross to be an MMA fan. I would say last night was one of those nights, just both for the action in the cage and for all of the outside the cage nonsense and everything that was thrust upon us, but we made it through it. Gumby beat me by one fight, which is I can handle. We both lost money. It wasn't a good night. I should dedicate this to anyone who was able to make money last night, which I like Scott, because it wasn't the easiest night to make money. Only one underdog came through. None of the ones we picked, of course. So yeah, kind of gross. We had fighters fumbling the bag on us. We had a lot of fun fights to watch. Yeah, anyhow, it's gonna be a good episode though. Don't worry, we're gonna have lots of fun here. Because I am I'm Captain Jeff, and I have my hands on the wheel, and I have a co-host who always somehow has a positive spin on things. So maybe he can positive spin all the jingoism and genuflecting that we were thrust upon us last night in New Jersey. It's the one and only Danny Gumby Vreeland. Hello.
Can I just say the most offensive thing that happened during that event is without a doubt that Jailton Almeida somehow did not get a post-fight bonus.
Jailton Almeida got a finish, which was a shock to begin with. So yeah,
what else on that terrible card? What else did you want him to do to get a bonus? I mean, he utterly dominated, made Romanov look like he didn't belong in there, grabbed the neck right away. Nah, no bonus. We're gonna skip that one over.
Islam needs double bonus plus probably the biggest paycheck. Well, other than Poirier, the biggest paycheck on the card as it was.
Did that get fight in the night too? I didn't see. I saw the performance bonuses went to him and Holland, and I didn't see the fight of the night. I was kind of hoping the fight of the night went to Hafez and Mickey Gall. Not that it was like a stellar fight.
No,
but I was kind of hoping just like both of those guys got 50K. Gall hasn't fought in 2 years, and Hafez hasn't fought in a year, and they could probably use 50K.
A low bar to clear for fight of the night last night. A very low bar to clear.
Yeah, I mean the Poirier Makhachev, and we could just jump right into the main event if we want. Like the Poirier Makhachev fight was it was competitive, right? Actually, one judge had it 2-2 going into the last round, which I think maybe a little hopeful. I think all of us in the Discord who are rooting for Dustin Poirier were like, you could give him the second, you could give him the fourth, and giving them both just kind of seemed wrong at the end of the day. I don't think he probably didn't win either of them, but he definitely didn't win both of them. But it was enough that you could seriously debate 2 rounds, which is probably more than we expected him to do. Not to mention, I did hit my prop in that fight plus 123 over 2.5 rounds. That was easy money. Nobody was even. Apart from Poirier being threatened with that rear naked choke in the first, nobody was even really in danger other than those first couple of minutes there.
I think the fact Poirier exceeded expectations is the reason that it probably was thought of as fight of the night, and maybe even swayed that judge. You would hope judges are above those kind of things, but they've proven that they're not.
They were bad, and we always
last night was historically bad. I try not to make absolute statements, and I try not to do hyperbole, but there was some all-time bad scorecards.
There was some chicanery in the scorecards last night.
The right person won every fight, but But yeah, at least there was one judge. Luckily, there was 2 judges who knew what they're doing, and one judge who did not know
sometimes
he or she was doing. So
sometimes those judges who got the right fighter didn't even get the rounds right. I feel like, which is the other wild thing.
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't the best night of all nights, but yeah, Poirier fought well, but I had it 5-0 Makhachev. I think that was the most should have been the most common scorecard. Obviously, I could see you giving a round maybe to Poirier, but if
every judge had given
not 5-0, it didn't last. But if it had gone to the decision, I would have had it 5-0.
Every judge gave him at least 1 round. Going into that last round, he had, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, and I don't have it in front of me, I think 1 judge gave him the second, 1 judge gave him the fourth, 1 judge gave him the second and the fourth. And I don't, again, those were like the most debatable rounds. I think I leaned more on the fourth than I did on the second. Like, I think he did more in that round than I could possibly give it to him. But again, like you said, it's also completely arguable that he won none of them, which is true. And, you got to give it to him. He split him open. He was game the whole time. Do you think this is it for him? Do you think that's the end?
No, he was hedging before. Like, it's never the end for fighters, first of all. And he was hedging, before he wouldn't even come out and say that he was retiring. So no, he will be back. He'll be back probably in the fun fight BMF division. But the unofficial division of the UFC is probably where he'll come back to.
But the thing about that is, though, and this is why I do think he's good. So I'm on the opposite side of you in this one. I'm going to take Dustin Poirier retires here.
Oh, okay.
The reason I think so is that, like, you're right, he was hedging, but the only reason he wants to retire is that it seems like he can't be in title fights anymore. And he's like, I'm not out for fun fights. Like, fun fights aren't my thing.
True.
So like he wants to be the best in the world. And if he's not going to be the best in the world, he doesn't want to be there. And so, like, if that's your reason for retiring, maybe that's the best reason for a fighter to retire. Because, like, he knows he's not getting shot number 4, not without going through an absolute freaking gauntlet of killers at 150.
I don't know about that.
No, I mean, like, who would he have?
Depends who the champ is. Obviously, it depends who the champ is.
What would he have to do to get another shot? Let's say
one fight.
Let's say that the champs change. Let's say Arman Sarukian comes in and he beats Islam Makhachev, absolutely tools on him. Makhachev goes back to Russia to figure things out.
Ryan H goes crazy.
Ryan H goes crazy. What Armenian champ? What would it take for Dustin Poirier to get a crack at him? Who would he need to be?
1 win is.
You just think 1 win?
I think he's in the Conor 1 win category right now. He's that type of name where he got this title fight off of 1 win against Benoit Saint-Denis. So,
but it would have to be spectacular and against an up and comer. And I just I don't even know who he could beat at this time that would make me feel that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Doesn't matter what we feel, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
It's what the boss feels.
He sells tickets, so
he does. So
then Islam's fighting Sarukian next too, right? Like, we don't have to do the post fight on him. Like,
he claims he's going up to welterweight, but
yeah, I don't think so. I think even less so once Bilal Muhammad takes the title, but that's a talk for a different day.
When is that again? Which one is that? 3?
305.
Well, he has time to fight Sarukian and then still go up to welterweight, right?
Let's do it. Let's get Sarukian a title shot.
Let's do it just for Ryan H. All right, before we move on, got to remind you, if you don't know already, if you don't follow college baseball, the college baseball tournament started this past weekend, and our man Noah Bieniek has got you covered. The man knows his college baseball. He hosts the College Baseball Experience at the sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Check it out. They're doing a bracket contest, but I guess you probably would be too late for that at this point. But definitely check out all of Noah's content. Noah Bieniek, last name is Bieniek. Check him out on the socials. He always puts out tons of good quality content. He slangs the tent, and he knows what he's talking about, which is the key. A lot of people can slang the tent, but not a lot of people know what they're talking about. All right, back to the UFC. So I guess we put the cart in front of the horse here. Islam Makhachev won that fight via Bravo choke. There you go. A rare submission for you, Gumby. You grappling nerd. You must like that. You don't see a heck of a lot of Bravo chokes, but anyway.
I mean, you do. That's just like a fancy name for darts.
I know. I'm saying it's a fancy name. It's usually called a darts. 242 into the 5th round. So yeah, competitive fight, more competitive than we expected, but still, I don't think there was ever a moment, even a split second in it, where I thought Makhachev was going to lose. Right? He was never in danger, really. So, which is just shows how good he is, and we want him to stay. I don't like fighters jumping weight classes, especially if they've only. I guess he has 3 title defenses at this point, but it's only been 2 different fighters, and one of them is not a lightweight. So I would rather him stick around and quote unquote clear out the division. Do a John Jones back in John Jones's heyday when he went through all the legends at light heavyweight. So
yeah, I want a Sarukian fight. I want a Matthews Gamrot fight.
Yeah, whoever else is ready after that. Yep.
Yeah, I want. There's plenty there. And not to mention he's gonna have to fight Connor after he beats Michael Champ.
one. I told you the one fight club. Win a fight, you got yourself a title shot. So minus 600 for Makhachev. Good for us. But Gumby did make money off this. He got the prop pick. He told everyone to take over 2.5 rounds. Plus 123. I mentioned that in all the articles I wrote on the event too. I mentioned it came from you. I didn't just outright steal it. So hopefully people did tail Gumby on that. Co-main event. I guess he fought for our money. I don't know. This was a frustrating fight, as is always the case with Sean Strickland fights. Middleweight, Sean Strickland split decision. It should not have been a split decision. This was clearly 5-0 for Strickland. Someone had Costa winning 49-46, like not even one round. They had him winning 4 rounds.
So bad.
The other 46-49, 50-45, 49-46. Right fighter won, but historically bad scorecard. We got another one coming up though. Don't worry about that. I suggested that people should just stand in front of Mr. Relentless Pressure and see what happens, because Strickland's not going to hurt you. He's doing this like the bushwhackers coming down to the ring, WWE, the march and the arms up in the air and the knees. Like he was doing this thing with his knee where he was pretending to kick, but he wasn't kicking. It's so like, just stand there and trade, Alex. Like the champ Alex Pereira did. Especially when you have Costa's power. Like, why do you have to backpedal the whole fight? He's not going to hurt you. Yeah, it's easy for me to say. I'm not getting punched and kicked, but still, it seems like that would be a better game plan than constantly backpedaling. But as I think it was Scuba said in the chat, it must be harder than it seems, because no one seems to ever do that.
Yeah, I would say the only thing I think I saw in terms of development for Sean Strickland in this fight is just like he returned a lot anytime he got hit. So some of the times in the Dricus du Plessis fight, you could see him get hit and he would back away or reset and pretty much anytime Costa hit him, he came back with like 3 or 4 more punches, which was, I'm guessing, just like expert game planning from Eric Nixick, who tends to be like one of the best in the game in terms of that. So like, it does seem like there's some progression there, but I mean, like that is not a performance that makes you say at the end of the day, like, get him back in there with Dricus, right? Like I tend to think he's going to have to win one more. And I mean, he probably have to fight the winner of the main event on at UFC Louisville, which I've been told is not the correct way to say it. UFC
Louisville. That's Louisville. Ryan also, isn't it? Ryan's getting a lot of was it Ryan that told us that?
He's
someone else.
I think it's Ryan.
Is Ryan in Louisville now? It's Louisville. I'm pretty sure it's Louisville, but okay, Ryan.
Louisville. So he'll probably have to fight the UFC Louisville main event, right? Like it could be a rematch with Jared Cannonier. And like that was a good first fight. And Cannonier took a close split decision. So like, wouldn't surprise me if they ran that one back for a title shot. If he gets away from Nassourdine Imavov, and if not, like maybe Imavov needs a crack in there. So that's probably what I'm doing with Strickland. Nothing terribly exciting.
Gumby's tickling he's teasing you all with next week's juicy main event that we're going to be talking about.
Actually pretty
soon
good
enough. Other middleweight fight, none of our funny picks, none of Gumby and I made a few picks, that we kind of went on the limb on. None of them came through, including mine here for Michael Sachak.
That was a bad one.
At least it wasn't even close. No, he knocked down Holland, which was good. He knocked him down. He beat him on the feet, close. And then he's like, here you go, take my arm and break it, please. Armbar, got his arm broken. He seemed to be upset that the fight got stopped after his arm got broken.
It was very broken.
Then just like Tim Sylvia, when he had his arm broken, he was upset that the fight got stopped and his arm was flopping around. But anyhow, Olasechuk got his arm broken by Kevin Holland a minute 34 into the first round. It wasn't quite as bad as the king of the UFC Apex, the Denzian of the UFC Apex, when he got his arm broken and the ref didn't notice, and it was, remember? Former champ Jamal Hill, when he got his arm broken, that was
a TKO due to strikes. That one
exactly after his arm was flopping around. Anyhow, Holland, I was gonna say he fought the way he should have fought, but he just happened to be on the ground because he got his he ate a punch and ended up on the ground, and then he was given an arm. So I don't know if there's much else to really say about this.
No, just shout out everybody in the Discord who was with me on the Kevin Holland submission prop.
Oh, you had that too. Nice. What was that paying out?
175, 175, right. I think it was. Yeah,
you'll take it. Alex Morano did not come through for our money. Nico Price came through. This was another yuck fight. 29-20 across board for Nico Price. Whatever. For both guys, whatever.
Did you hear the biggest news though?
Are they both retiring?
No, his wife's pregnant.
Nico Price is this? Get out of here.
He says he's got 3 boys. He says he's got 3 boys, 3 girls. This one's the tiebreaker.
Oh my God. So it's going to be twins, one of each, right? Oh my God. Can you imagine?
7 kids. So it's the big news out of the post-fight press conference. Nobody wants to fantasy match make Nico Price because he's already the guy who I'm like, hey, this guy needs to step up. Nico Price. He's my go-to for that. And so he's still going to be that guy forever. Like when somebody needs to step up, Nico Price either turns him away or doesn't. But the big news out of the press conference, Nico Price, 7 kids.
Randy Brown came through for me. He was my lock of the week, as Gumby predicted. 29-20 across the board against Elazio Zaleski dos Santos. Let's give Randy Brown a little bit of a step up at this point, right?
Yeah, I think he needs more than the Nico Price step up. He needs he needs a ranked opponent, I think. I mean, you can't win 7 out of 8 with the only loss to being into number 5 in the division and somehow not wind up with a ranked competitor, right? Like he should be fighting Joaquin Buckley or something like that, right?
Yeah. Yep. He's right in the headline of UFC Apex card range.
Yeah,
if he was up a weight class, he would have by now. But yes.
Yeah, maybe one fight away from that. But if you got him the right exciting counterpart, like you could probably do it now.
Well, you just said who you should fight. So
yeah,
let's do it. All right, before we move on, let me remind you, the NBA playoffs are here. Actually, they're on a bit of a hiatus currently because the teams won. Dallas and Boston won. Yep, Gumby's hat. Dallas and Boston won so quickly, but the NBA playoffs are here, and our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make it a lot more interesting. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, and so much more. You make entries of all basketball, or you mix and match across your other favorite sports. I put out a Underdog UFC 302 picks for you. I don't know if it hit or not, but we'll just assume that it did. All 3 of them came through. So yes, they do have UFC.
Are you talking about for the YouTube reel?
The video I made? Yeah.
You got 2 out of 3.
I always don't want to say this out loud, but I always get 2 out of 3.
You only missed the lower than on the Grant Dawson significant strikes. He did go over. He did go higher than.
Okay. Anyhow, they got UFC is the point. You can win up to 100 times your money if you get more than 2 out of 3, like I do. And it's a ton of fun. You go to their main web page, homepage, I guess it's what the kids call it nowadays, right? Underdogfantasy.com. You shall see that they have a special, daily special on the home screen there. Plus, if you're a new customer, you get a pick-em special in the lobby when you sign up. And Underdog also will be running a ton of different promos, bonus cash airdrops, specials, giveaways, and more throughout the NBA playoffs. So make sure to follow at Underdog Picks on Twitter to keep an eye out for all of the fun there. Underdog is available in 30 plus states, including California, Texas, and the best state of all, Canada. They also just launched Champions, their player versus player format in Florida. Sign up with our code MMASGPN. Make us look good to the bosses to claim your special pick and first time deposit. Offer up to $250 in bonus cash. So it's a win-win. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMASGPN. All right, what are we moving on to? Do we have to move on to this card? Yeah, we do.
We can do the prelims quick.
Prelims, we are going to do it quick because all of a sudden, who was it that said, "Oh, you're a wrestler now"? Was it one of the Diaz's that said that in a fight? But anyway, Roman Kopylov is a wrestler now. Apparently, he realized what his last name is. Another split decision that should not have been a split decision over Cesar Almeida. This one was not quite as egregious as the other ones. 29-28, 28-29, 30-27. Kopylov looked good on the feet, and he threw in some wrestling there too to thwart our pick of Almeida.
Yeah, I think the mix and match was good. I don't know if he'll be able to do it against people who can actually wrestle. Can they? Because you're like, he remembered what his last name is, and that's great and all, but like also he's not a good wrestler. I don't think this is
No.
more of a.
He's fighting a kickboxer.
He's fighting a kickboxer. Maybe it's a sell on Cesar Almeida's takedown defense and a sell on the fact that he's a 38-year-old middleweight with 6 fights. So maybe we should have seen that one coming. But if he struck with him, I think Cesar wins that fight, right? Like if it was just on the feet the whole time, there's a good chance he would have won.
Yep. This was the lone underdog, right? And it was barely an underdog. This is basically a pick'em fight.
Yeah, it wasn't an underdog even when we broke it down. It was a pick'em.
Yeah. Yeah. And this was the only one that came through. So yeah, like I said, if you were able to make money last
night.
Oh,
no, Nico Price. Nico Price.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. Nico Price was a fairly big underdog. So yeah, anyhow. Good on you if you made yourself some money here. Jailton Almeida should have made himself $50,000 more in money, as Gumby said off the top. He dominated Alexander Romanov, took him down. Romanov didn't exactly quit, but he got mauled. And it was good to see Jailton actually went for a finish. I saw he had Romanov's back. I'm like, you just do some ground and pound here, and you're a heavyweight. They're going to stop the fight. But instead, he ended up getting a rear naked choke. 227 into the first round. Another win for the Damian Maia of heavyweight. Doesn't want to punch people.
I like how we're all mad that he doesn't have a ton of finishes because he went 2 whole fights without finishing somebody.
Exactly. But he's always in position to. That's the thing. He seems like if you just open up a bit, but
I mean,
position over.
I think his wrestling's the best in the heavyweight division. I think he could legitimately be the heavyweight champ right now. He obviously made that mistake against Curtis Blades, and people are selling on him for it. But I'm telling you, like,
that wasn't wrestling related though at all.
I think I'd pick him in a. I think I'd pick him in a rematch against Curtis Blades. I'm just gonna say that. I really do think he beats Curtis Blades in a rematch.
Yep, our boy did good over our former boy. Gumby was very harsh on this former boy of ours when we broke down these fights.
He didn't quit in this one though. You're right about that. I can give him some props for that.
Well, because he's got the belly back. That might be it. He's not starving himself. Lightweights, Grant Dawson dominated Joe Select. He almost got himself choked out right at the starting of the fight, but this was Gumby's silly pick. He picked Joe Selecki just for the heck of it, and Dawson dominated him on the ground as expected. 29-28, 30-27 across the board. I don't know, nothing impressive.
Dominated him on the ground or held him there sufficiently.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't impressive for other guy. No.
I mean, I like the submission attempt from Joe Selecki earlier, but then maybe get up.
Yep, maybe get up. Phil Rowe fumbled the bag on us. He could have won this fight. Like, he had all the tools to win this fight, and he was winning this fight. But then Jake Matthews came through and took care of Phil Rowe. Phil Rowe, I don't know if it's the fact that he got hurt, because that's the new announcer trope. Instead of saying the choke is tight, it's he's hurt. Everyone's hurt after every shot that lands. Oh, he's hurt. That
was true of Mickey Gall. We're going to talk about Mickey Gall in a second.
Yeah. So I don't know
if this was not that hurt, by the way.
Yes. I don't know if Phil Rowe got buzzed and then that's why he basically stopped fighting for the last, two rounds.
I don't know. He looked good at the beginning of the third round. Like he was, he had a dominant grappling position. He went to go take the back and he just slid off the top. If he had just took some time in Top Turtle, threw a couple of punches there.
Good name.
Yeah. And maybe tried to drag him back to the mat or waited for the right moment to jump to the back. I think he wins that fight. I mean, it was 1-1 going into the third. He was clearly winning the third up until he tried to take the back and slid off the top. So I think that's mostly just on got too excited for the moment kind of bit. But I don't think he was hurt necessarily all that bad from Jake Matthews. I think it was just one of those moments where the opportunity looked too juicy at a certain point and he had to jump on it.
It was a night of bad decisions by judges, and it was a night of ineffective grappling for sure. But we always hear about effective grappling in the score, and there's a lot of ineffective grappling. I just wish Rowe didn't grapple. He could have won that fight just picking off Matthews from distance.
He was winning the grappling exchange. It's just hard to say don't grapple when you're winning the grappling.
Yeah, he was winning the stand-up battle though too. That's the thing.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Anyhow, hindsight and all that jazz. Basil Hafez, Gummy mentioned him. I don't think he looked very good here. I think I'm gonna have to be very wary of picking him in the future because Mickey Gall has never shown that he's UFC caliber, but he's back and he got beat 30-27, 29-28. But there was a few hairy moments for Hafez. He did eat a few punches from Gall, but like Gumby said, he was not hurt as bad as Joe and his best buddy Daniel would like to have you believe.
Man, Joe thought that Mickey Gall was Mike Tyson on the feet. It was nuts.
He's been working on his striking over the past 2 years, apparently, right?
I do have to say, like, the jab was there for Mickey Gall. And, like, I can see people wanting to sell on Hafez based on the striking there. But you also just have to remember, like, this is a guy who makes his bread and butter all the time by shooting takedowns. And he knows that's where Mickey Gall's is best. So he's like, I'm going to stay away from the place where I'm my best. Yeah. And I think in that way, this was just kind of like a tricky matchup for him. I think you're going to see him in there with a guy whose best trait is not trying to go for submissions off of his back. He's going to shoot 100 takedowns and win fights pretty easily. So, like, You're right. Maybe he didn't look great here, but I also think it was just kind of like set up as a fight that maybe wouldn't work out real well for him.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Before we move on, I should tell you about, actually, we were supposed to give out a play for underdog. Do you have an underdog play for any sport? What sport's going on now? MLB? Do you have an underdog play for MLB, Gumby?
I mean, we can just get to game 1 of the NBA Finals.
Okay, sure.
Coming up very shortly, and there'll be an article up on SGPN too. I will say I like the higher than on Luka Doncic's points. He's not going to come out game 1 and do anything except for absolutely blow up the Celtics. I know the Celtics have got like the number 1 ranked defense in the freaking league right now, but Luka's going to Luka. Luka's going to Luka. I mean, he had 20 points in the first quarter in game 6. Mm-hmm. He's gonna do similar kind of stuff here. So yeah, give me Luka's higher than.
And while we're talking about NBA playoffs, we should tell you about Rhythm, another one of our sponsors. It's spelled RITHMM. If you're betting on NBA player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm gives you a menu of the best player props for every single NBA playoff game, making it easy to go through and find the best props to put your money on in seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team of data scientists and quants that focus on fine-tuning our algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player prop graphs to help you feel even more confident in your picks, which you can make wherever you normally place your bets or DFS picks. From superstars to bench players, Rhythm finds the best player prop lines, all backed by AI data without you needing to endlessly scroll a sportsbook. Rhythm also allows you to create your own custom NBA models so you can get AI-backed money line, spread, and total picks for every playoff game. Start a free 7-day trial and start winning your NBA player props with Rhythm, available wherever you get your apps. Okay, so we told you about Basil Hafez. Oh God, women's bantamweight. This was such a women's bantamweight fight. Gumby's favorite fighter, Eileen Perez, came through. Somehow she survived the intense grappling from Jocelyn Edwards because Perez is a grappler, and apparently Edwards is too, because Edwards was reversing apparently grappling ace Eileen Perez pretty easily here in this fight. Anyhow, 30-27, 29-28, 29-28. Gumby had this one. I had Edwards. Edwards definitely fought for money. On the ground, though, surprisingly, she fought for money. But yeah, this was such a women's bantamweight fight.
Did you see who Perez called for?
I did see. Main event against Kayla Harrison. Let's do it. I would love to see her sacrifice for Kayla Harrison.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, she won this fight because of grappling, right? Like she wound up in better grappling positions. She hit a couple of nice judo throws. I know we joke about it being a head and arm throw, but she really did get the legs involved there too. Like those were legitimate judo. Not that the head and arm throw isn't a judo throw too, but like they were more legitimate than our like LOL women's grappling head and arm throws. Right? Like that's it's like the LOL Mets thing. It's like this. It's like LOL women's head and arm throws. But like I think the fact that her first instinct is like, give me somebody else who is a world champion in the stuff I try to do, like a multi-time world champion in the types of stuff I like to do. Like that's got to be the all-time worst call. Like even if you wanted a top 5 person or somebody who is going to get you close to the title, call out Macy Chiasson. You know what I mean? Like call out Irene Aldana, right? Like there's women at the top there who don't want to do what you do already, only 80 times better than you. And hey, maybe there's just a little bit of hubris there, but she ain't grappling with Kayla Harrison. That's nuts.
No. And then in the opener, Andre Lima, by being bit in his UFC debut, made him realize, hey, you're not if you're not cheating, you're not trying, because he put out all the stops here. Came in 5 pounds overweight, multiple eye pokes, a fence grab. Yeah, this was a good debut for the UFC.
One low blow.
a low blow. This was a good debut for the UFC's new gloves that they keep shoving. That's another thing that was getting shoved down our throats. Was
the new gloves, and there was like 7 eye pokes.
Exactly. He got a hard warning. Andre Lima got a hard warning for an eye poke, and then almost immediately did another eye poke and didn't even get a warning. So apparently that's how you progress from a hard warning.
I'm pretty sure I heard Herb Dean say, "Hey, I mean it."
Yeah, come on, seriously, guys. And then he did a fence grab, which always drives Daniel Cormier. You can tell Daniel Cormier was a wrestler because it drives him nuts when people do fence grabs. But anyhow, I don't think any of this really caused him to win the fight. But did he win the fight, Gumby? Split decision, 30-27, 28-29, 30-27. This, 28-29 was, I said in the Discord, this may be the worst scorecard I've seen ever, because it was very clearly 3 rounds to none for Lima. Raposo did nothing in the fight.
It is a really hard debate to ask yourself whether or not that's a worse card than Costa 49-46.
I think it was the same guy too. Was it not?
Oh, I don't know. Hang on.
It was. I looked it up.
Oh,
there was.
He shouldn't be allowed within.
He deserves to be called out right now.
Yeah.
Torelli.
It was Torelli on both of them.
Torelli 28-29 for Raposo. No, Torelli 46-49 for Costa. Yeah. So yeah,
he did both of them. Yeah, he doesn't belong.
Yeah, he did both of them. So
those are terrible.
And New Jersey used to be like that was like
the commission,
the birth of the sport. Basically, that was the commission.
Yeah, and I'll say this like
anymore.
I really think Raposo looked better than I gave him credit for up front.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that knowing he lost every single round. He just looked tentative. But like when he exchanged and he threw overhand rights, he tagged Lima. It was just like it was way too little. But Lima was closer to being hurt than Hafez ever was. So like if he just let go, maybe his legs would have gotten chewed up. Maybe he wouldn't have been there at the end of the fight. Maybe Lima would have found a way to finish him, but at least then he would know. You know what I mean? He just now has to go home and sit and be like, what if I tried to fight him? And that's kind of brutal, especially for a guy who's getting his freaking 3rd shot in there, because he already got a shot in Contender Series. He already got a shot in the Ultimate Fighter. He struck out on both of those. They give you a UFC debut, and that's what it looks like. Like, oh man, I don't think that's the impression you want to leave in anybody's mouth. I hope he gets a second one. I also wouldn't be terribly surprised, and I say this sadly as a Northeastern MMA fan. Like, it wouldn't surprise me to see them give him the Joe Giannetti treatment, like another Boston guy who straight up didn't fight in his lone UFC fight, and it seems like they've blackballed since then.
Yeah. How about on the other side? How about Lima? If he can actually make flyweight, he looks pretty decent. Such a big, strong, powerful kicker.
I think the thing for me is that like it was hard to gauge how good he is in this fight strictly because he wasn't made to fight. Like if somebody pressures him and those kicks still look as good as they do, and maybe I really do like his 1-2. He almost never threw it in this fight. But like when that gets drawn out of him against higher level competitions, I'll be able to like judge it. But like it's hard to watch this fight and say like, oh, Lima looks X, Y, or Z, because I mean he didn't look like anything, sadly.
At least he didn't get bit this time, so positive for him.
He didn't get a bonus either.
No, it's true. Doesn't have to get a tattoo though. Maybe he should get a tattoo of the split decision that he got, because that's almost as bad as getting Bix. No way, that was split decision. So Makhachev Poirier was our fight of the night. Makhachev got a performance of the night. So did Kevin Holland. 2 guys that didn't need. I guess Gelatin's probably getting paid decent anyhow. I went 6-6.
He's still pretty early.
Yeah, that's true, but he's a big guy. 6-6 for me, 7-5 for Gumby. I lost 394. Gumby lost 223. So I'm at 61% on the year. Gumby's at 54%. I'm down 2% money. Gumby's down 11%, but
there's still time.
Gumby hit 2 of his fancy plays though. He hit Almeida as his lock. He hit Maine over 2.5 as his prop. He missed Philip Rowe as his dogs, as did I, but Rowe bobbled that on us. He should have won that fight. I had Brown as my lock. I hit that. I had Dawson via knockout. Didn't happen. Didn't do enough on the ground.
I don't even think he tried.
No. Well, he tried enough to blow my underdog ballot, apparently. So there you go. He landed enough punches for that.
I was perplexed when I looked and it said 42, and I was like, he did not land 42.
There were 17,834 people in attendance in the Prudential Center, $7.3 million gate for UFC 302. So UFC's got to be happy with that. and they're off. The Octagon is on the road again. The UFC Apex is going to feel pretty lonely. Poor Jamal Hill. What is he watching with no events in there the past few weeks? They're going to the KFC Yum Center in Louisville, Texas. I almost said Louisville, which is how the
Did you say it was in Texas?
I said Texas. That's right. Louisville, Kentucky. Not even close. They're not even close to each other. Even the Canadian knows that. Cannonier versus Imavov. Yes, a middleweight.
That's actually a sick fight,
but it's all right. It's not in the Apex, which is
in terms of middleweight main events. It's better than any other middleweight main event you could make by people who are not title challengers.
Which is why they're making people pay to see it. But Gumby always said we judge cards by the co-main event. And what do we have in the co-main event, Gumby? Let's see. Dustin Jacoby 1-3 over his last 4 fights, including losing his last fight against Dominic Reyes. How has he been doing recently, Gumby?
For his last 71.
Well, for his last 4 is not one. He beat Chris Weidman in 2019. So yeah, this is.
I was at that fight. Right here. Main event.
Young Gumby was there. So we got Cannonier Imavov as the main event. Dominic Reyes, Dustin Jacoby co-main event. Yuck. Rolo Rosas Jr., Ricky Tercios, if they can actually get in the cage this time. Bruno Ferreira, aka Hulk, Dustin Stoltzfus, Julian Marquez, Zachary Reese, Miguel Baeza, Puna Soriano. That is our main card. Yikes. Prelims, Thiago Moises, Ludovic Klein, Charles Radke, aka Charlie Buffalo, Carlos Praches, Andrea Lee, Montana De La Rosa, Brad Katona, Jesse Butler, John Castaneda, Daniel Marcos, Eduarda Moira, Denise Gomes, Cody Stamen, Taylor Lapilus, Rayan Dos Santos, Puya Tumor. It's not a Tuma. There's a lot of that guy's still in the UFC fighters on this card, Gumby.
I'm excited about a lot of them, though. I'm excited to see Eduardo Mora back in there. I'm excited to see Carlos Praches back in there. Puya Tomar is a fighter who I've kind of had circled as like, I don't know if she's good, but she's interesting. She had like a really good fight with Stamped Fairtex until she made like a really bad move in a takedown where she got her back taken and wound up losing. But like since then she's won 4 or 5 in a row, so she's kind of an intriguing one. I think there are fun fights on here. Even though it's not like the most meaningful fight, like Andrea Lee versus Montana De La Rosa should be fun.
It feels like they should have fought each other like a million times already.
It definitely does.
It definitely does. But it's not a Yum card for the Yum Center, Gumby.
I think this is better than most fight night cards.
All right.
In terms of like people
low bar once again.
In terms of people you want to see, I want to see Praches. I want to see Eduardo Mora. I want to see if she's the real deal. There's a lot of these fighters in here. I think I would enjoy seeing. You could give or take Brad Katona. I don't care about him.
But it doesn't matter. We're going to make money on it regardless. So that will be Wednesday and Thursday's episode. We are not leaving till then, though. No, we got Monday. We got Tuesday. We got this is a big week for regional MMA coming up. We've already done 3 episodes on regional MMA events. That's how big a week it is. So go back before the UFC stuff, and you will, if you haven't listened already, listen to those. Get yourself ready for this coming weekend so we can make some money on regional stuff. So we got 2 more regional events coming up that we're going to cover Monday and Tuesday. And then the UFC is back Wednesday, Thursday for us. And then we get to chill for a couple of days. We're never chilling. Actually, we're always chilling. Always chilling in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Sometimes we're on Twitter. I'm sure Gumby will reply to you on Twitter on our account if you get a hold of him, unless it's a bunch of hateful stuff, right?
Yeah, I ignore the hate.
SGPN MMA. Gumby runs that. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm a Jeff Fox writer there and on Instagram. You can get into my Substack and enter my weekly UFC Pick'em contest and check out all my articles at moneymma.substack.com. You can listen to Gumby's Top Turtle MMA podcast and see who he has on this week. We'll just leave it up in the air for now. Always has interesting people, so make sure you listen to that. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. If you haven't already, please do. Even if you don't want to watch us on YouTube, subscription is fine. We're getting plenty of viewers, but we need more subscribers at this point. So, and keep watching too. That will be MMA Gambling Podcast on YouTube. Obviously, and we can be found at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store is the place to go for your gear, and sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon is the spot you can go to help support us on the network here. We shall be back tomorrow. It will be the hybrid Jeff Fox and Hustler Gumby Vreeland, and we shall talk to you then.